derivatives background.
Yes, sir.
And-
I'm actually meant to talk about that more. I'll just say real quickly, one of the problems with the market today is the existence of something called high-frequency trading, where traders are able to use, the power of computers combined with algorithms that they develop, basically to run the market whichever way they want. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, that partially answers my question, but nevertheless, at least in part in the United States, in '87 we had a
500-point crash. I was there.
uh,
I didn't cause it. I was there.
well, yet to be determined. In '97 we had one, and then 2007 we had one that really affected everything else, or everything else affected us, depends on what your point of view is. So that's every 10 years. So what do you think about 2017?
I think that, I think that there is a lot, I think the world is in a lot of danger because the fundamental issues, one of which of course is capitalism, haven't really been resolved in terms of the stability of the world economy. Do I think will specifically be based on a 10-year cycle type thing? No, I don't necessarily think that, because there are always new conditions or new processes, as the Marxians would say, coming into play that are going to affect that. Now, who knows? Who knows? Maybe there is this underlying wave, kind of familiar to, I think it's called a Kondrakian wave, but that's really a much longer period of cycle. But it could be like a little mini one that's occurring that actually may cause crashes, every 10 years. But I would say no, because as I said, I think the processes that are occurring are changing. I mean, right now, one of the biggest problems the world has is the sovereign debt crisis that some of the European nations are facing.
Can I do an add-on to that?
Yes, sir.
But has the log algorithms changed in the trading?
No. In fact,
so therefore,
well, but see, I'm not. But see, you can't say. See, the site. There's a difference between the computer algorithms that they use in high frequency trading to a kind of the business cycle type thing that Keynes and Marx, for that matter, talked about.
Yeah, they don't necessarily coincide.
Yeah, no, they don't.
Anybody else?
I would like to ask you.
I knew you were going to ask something.
I would like to ask you about I don't like to use the concepts of Algis Mickūnas. I will ask you because you started to speak about capitalism and freedom and money. I would like to ask you about that Marxism and contemporary Marxists use this term reification. Reification means, objectivation of your values, intentions, transformation them into material things. It means that, how do you think how contemporary dignity of human beings and understanding of it depends on the reification of values which comes from sphere of money. I mean that, for example, dignity could be reificated as a car, good car.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and how do you think how these two sides depends from each other? Reification and contemporary acceptation, what does mean freedom for people?
I think that I'm not going to be able to answer that question as completely as it needs to be within the period of time that I have left. But I think you definitely have hit on something there, and I think maybe in one sense America kind of typifies that type of thing, where for so many Americans, there was this phrase that the younger folk here recall, which was keeping up with the Joneses. Okay? Oh yeah, you don't know anything about that, do you, Joe? which in essence meant
we didn't have any Joneses in our block.
Yeah, right. which in essence meant that in order for you to have some sense of respect and honor and worth, self-worth, you had to be, if the Joneses were doing well, you had to be doing just as well. And I think that in America, I think that still to a large extent exists. Okay. I don't know, does that help?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just have one small comment. It's interesting to me that everybody focuses on these big crashes, but with respect to something like dignity, I would add to your answer that it's the variability that affects more people more directly. So, was it 3 years ago when the price of rice inexplicably skyrocketed? Like that affected like millions and millions and millions and millions of people immediately. And I don't remember what the cause was. It was something weird. I don't know. Maybe you know. And it's
No,
a commodity, but
Right.
it was some randomly wasn't. It was like some far-flung event, and that one commodity price it went way up. It's just spiked, and then like there were food riots in various points all over the
Well,
country. Maybe I imagine this. Anybody else?
No,
I don't know. Maybe it's a dream I had.
So Al, you want to say?
I don't know what it was.
Was it a rice mill?
Oh, you want to say? Okay, go ahead.
Nightmare in my office.
First of all, I'm so glad that you went to a FS trip and probably was 25 years instead of 20.
Okay.
So I'm so delighted to hear this. Thank you. I really find what you propose very provocative. I think that that's the point of these kind of conversations, not to find the answers, but to propose something. And what, you know, when you were talking about technology, I was immediately thinking about communication and technologies of communication. And Walter Ong and other people proposed actually a technologies of communication start with writing. Writing itself is a technology. So that it would not be control of energy, it's another kind of technology. But writing, that's very important because writing is a technology. It's not in any way a natural extension of the body, or, you know, it's actually cultural.
And writing, I think, could be referred to also as an information technology.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that I know that sometimes when we speak about technology, we have this tendency to speak about technology as a new thing. People didn't have technology now. They do have. There is really not such a thing as a human without technology at that level. So thinking about that, I am immediately. I know what you're talking about, capitalism and money. Immediately I'm thinking about the paradoxes and contradictions and the complexes here, that with some advancement of the fact that actually there are technologies, going back to the strategy and tactics I was talking about yesterday, some technologies that become demoted or are not as important that can be taken again and used to resist. Okay, number one, things such as talking face to face very soon will become an asset because it will be precious and scarce.
I don't know why you would think that, Elizabeth.
So what I'm saying is that I don't think necessarily, you know, this money situation is fascinating, but there are all of these areas, technological areas, or ways of subverting these orders that I think are very interesting, such as, you know, talking to your friends about things and showing up and protesting, or thinking the body differently. And to use a term that actually one of the people interviewed for the paper said, she talked about peace as an acupuncture. I just love that. An acupuncture. Peace in Colombia's acupuncture. That is, you know, an intervention in particular nodes that are very clear and very small, but that provoke profound changes in the energy. Without much money, really. You don't need surgery for acupuncture. And so I think that immediately suggests, actually even in Foucault terms, that the more this power becomes, in capitalism, so absolute but so obvious, at the same time it becomes possible to perform acupuncture, which is a technology of intervention in particular nodes that are very small but can change the dynamics of things.
I agree.
Oh dear.
Dr. Mickūnas? Oh, no, I'm sorry.
A lot of issues that you touched upon has a kind of common denominator, is globalization, or they are global. Technologies, energetic issues, money, capitalism, and so on. What do you think about such marginal theories that are discussed currently, very much like regional green economies, about withdrawing from global system, coming back to the regions, trying to make economies self-sustainable, but related to the particular region where it can be developed.
No, I think those are, I think in one sense that sort of parallels with what Elizabeth was saying. I think those are very important and meaningful developments, but I think we don't want to, at least at this point, from my standpoint, overrate their, how can I put it, ability to vie with the capitalist system. But I think those are very, very important developments. I think that individual communities, you know, as they say, you think globally, you act locally. Have you ever heard that expression? I think that's quite apropos in terms of what you, I believe, if I'm understanding what you're saying, quite apropos. You have to understand globally what the economic implications of things that are happening, but you have to act locally, because obviously in most communities are not able to reach out and slap, you know, a bank that's, you know, controls $100 trillion upside the head, you know. So you have to do what you can in meaningful ways that improves the lives of people, that in fact gives people more freedom, you know, whether it's freedom from hunger or whether it's freedom to be able to, let's say, communicate with someone across the globe. You know, all these things are important. I don't know what.
Sal, you want to say the final thing?
No, it's okay.
So,
Thanks.
thank you very much.